There we go, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of Unscripted. I'm here with one of my favorite people to talk to when it comes to things professional wrestling. And, it's interesting, man, because there's certain people in the professional wrestling business. I've been doing this thing for a long time now, and I've been talking to a lot of people along the way. And I have like a list of favorites that I've actually built a really good, strong relationship with. And this guy right here is one of them, man. He's just the nicest guy, just a sweetheart of a man. And he's just an awesome dude, man. John Cena Sr., ladies and gentlemen. How are you?
How are you? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Indeed.
It goes both ways, my friend.
I appreciate that very, very much, man. And that is shooting from the hip. And I've had a lot of interactions with people who are duds, and you're definitely not one of them in the wrestling business. So I greatly appreciate that, man. So we got some super chat. Well, be sure there's a lot of people coming on here, and of course, if you want to put a super chat, if you want a screen to be on, if you want your comment to be on the screen, be sure to hit that super chat, and we will put your questions on the screen. I'm sure everybody have a lot of questions for the father of John Cena. Basically, on the heels of that devastating loss from Brock Lesnar, we'll get into that. But just overall, John, what do you think? We were talking in the green room about some matches that you really liked. What were some things that you liked about WrestlePalooza, and some things that you didn't necessarily like about WrestlePalooza, other than the obvious of your son losing by Brock Lesnar? I'm sure that there's a part of you that knows that your son could be able to beat the world and beat everybody in it, but it's just that father in you that wants to jump over the rails sometimes to defend your son, I imagine.
Absolutely correct there, Chris. We had a lot of good matches at WrestlePalooza. I will say this. I kind of thought for all the hype that the show got, it didn't quite live up to what I think a lot of the fans expected. We were going to see great things, great changes, things we've never seen before. But all in all, some of the matches that stood out was the Women's Championship match. I really believe that was the highlight of the night. Those two women proved to everyone that women can wrestle. Women can really do what needs to be done. Great. It was a great match, great finish, and we have a champion.
That's right. We have it was a vacant title, and now we have a champion. That is Stephanie Vaquer. Yep. You've been in this industry for a long, long time. Who are some of the women's wrestlers that you can recall paving the way a generation or two ago?
Well, you can't forget the one and only Fabulous Moolah. Yeah. She, I think, is the one that kind of, started all. You got Lilani Kai. She was in there. Mm-hmm. You have a whole list of women who were taken for granted, if I can use that word, and were not used properly in the business. Finally, and I've preached this since I've started. I've been in it 16 years, and I've been yelling or screaming at the top of my lungs, give them a chance. I think some of these women could actually knock out some of these guys. And finally, we see it, that all this work that was done, Wendy Richter's, all these people that sacrificed and worked hard has finally paid off for these young ladies.
Absolutely, 100%. What year did you start the wrestling business?
Oh, I think that was back when 55, maybe 55 years ago. So 50 was 55. Maybe 16 years ago would put me back. Let's see what that's going to put me at, Chris. I'll do the quick math.
2009, maybe.
Yeah, let's see. That would be nope. How about right around there, 2009, 2008. Yep, right around there. Yep.
Yeah. What caused you to? What led you? I mean, of course, your son started around 99 or so, and and he started in California. If I'm not mistaken, was training in California. What caused you to say, hey, you know what? I'm a late bloomer when it comes to the pro wrestling business, but this is catching. And you started to do a lot of stuff in Boston after around that time, right? As far as the manager is concerned.
Correct.
Yeah.
It all started because I had gone through what I consider to be a terrible time in my life, a divorce. And I was really down and out, depressed. And a couple of guys I knew said, hey, Knuckles Nelson, I don't know if you ever heard of Knuckles, but Knuckles Nelson was looking for a ring announcer. So I went down to try out. And John had already been in the business a couple of years. And Knuckles said, great voice, would love to have you, but I've already got a ring announcer. And I said, well, a couple of other people are looking. And he said, no, I need a heel manager. Yeah. That's all I needed. And Johnny Fabulous was born that day. And we just been running with that, and John Cena Sr. ever since. But that's what got me started. That's what got me into it. Because originally, before the family came along, I just used to help. I helped promote. I'd be at the shows, make sure the boys get paid, the ladies got paid. The venue did what they were supposed to do, posters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic, man. It's a lot of fun. And what was like? I know that you do weddings and things like that too. What was like the as far as your career is concerned, what were the main things that you were doing as as your career throughout before you endeavored into wrestling?
My real live job was I was the assessor for the city of Methuen. I had my own business. I had 24 people working with me. I taught all over the country, wrote a couple of books on appraisal. And then I get into the JP wrestling business. The JP business has been absolutely awesome. 18 years I've been doing that. Met a lot of wonderful people. And just to let you know, some of the weddings we do are wrestle themed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with that. Matter of fact, God rest his soul, the Fink was the master of ceremonies at one that I did.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's really cool. Yeah. Did John give you the nod? Like, did he put a good word in for you as far as just the times that you were in the WWE, and how was it working with Vince McMahon?
I don't know whether John put the nod in or not. All I know is I was working one day. I got a call from John. He was in Boston and said, Dad, how'd you like to come to work for the WWE for a while? I said, yeah, that'd be great. He said, get in here because we got something for you. And as far as Vince McMahon goes, he was absolutely a superb human being to work for. It's my opinion, and only my opinion. Cared about the business, cared about the individuals that he worked with, and just an all-around great human being. And I still hold that true to this day of my life.
Yeah, that's cool. Of course, I'm sure there's a lot of comments going on here for anyone who has questions for John Cena Sr. Of course, on the heels of WrestlePalooza, be sure to hit that super chat and we'll put it on the screen. So let's talk about WrestlePalooza when it comes to your son, John Cena. It's one of those things that this is his farewell tour. He talked about in interviews that it's not necessarily that he has a desire to leave the pro wrestling business because he just wants to. He's just not able, not really capable of putting on the type of in-ring action as he does, as he did for the past 20 plus years. Now it's interesting because you can tell, like John Cena he's been known for a long time as being one of the most the biggest horses throughout. Like one of the first ones in, one of the last ones out. Just really just takes so much pride in the business, and you can tell that this isn't something that he's happy about, but it's just a wise move with his career and his physical just capabilities at this point. So far, I know this is your son. You're going to speak well of him, but you're a man of character and integrity as well. Realistically speaking, 9 months into his comeback tour, what are some pros and cons that you've noticed so far?
That's a good question. I wish I had a good answer for you. As far as some of the pros, I think what he's done is right. It's good. It's positive.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's done what he said he would do. He's thanked the fans in the only way he knows how, and that's by giving him 36 appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Those fans mean an awful lot to him, as does the wrestling business. Some of the cons that I think I've seen, maybe some of the mistakes in the booking they've made. Turning John Cena heel was a great idea. The shock factor was great, but I think the storyline was destroyed. And that was a very poor move in my opinion, because it was a big gamble for everyone that was involved. And to see how it started, and then to see the characters who were involved no longer be present, well, the heel turn almost became non-essential. It became a thing that, like, okay, so that was something I really wasn't too really hyped up on.
Yeah.
I'll say it like it is. I probably get in trouble for saying things, but I'm just going to say it like it is. I think that bothers me the most of anything. I think the positive aspects of this is the face turn. I think that was a real positive move. I think they did it at the right time. I just think that what he's done and what he's doing and the legacy he will leave behind is really positive. Because if you listen to what he has to say, it's not about John Cena. Part of it is he thanking the fans, and he said, it's my turn to lead, so some of the great young talent in the back can come forward. And that's been one of my gripes for a long time. Why does somebody who's retired or out there want to come back and take a spot from somebody that really needs the rub or needs the shot to get up there? So outside of that, I think it's been a good tour. I think it's been well done, except for those instances that I mentioned. Outside of that, I guess that's all I have to say about that, Chris.
Yeah, to your point though, John, he's had some times throughout the tour that he's went back old school and had some feuds and had some matches with like an Orton, Brock Lesnar, and coming up as of today's announcement, Crown Jewel, it'll be him and AJ Styles. I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment. But at the same time, he's given the nod to the future of the business too. He's had a match with Cody Rhodes. He's had two of them. He had a match with Logan Paul, had a tag match. He aligned himself with Jey Uso. So there was a lot of there was a lot of times where he had an opportunity to still go back, and pay homage to, people who really helped him pave the way, but at the same time, giving a nod to, the future of the company too. So that goes along with what you're saying for sure. I do want your take on a few things as we got a little bit more time to go. Travis Scott being involved in this the WrestleMania match, the the aligning with The Rock at the Elimination Chamber, the heel turn. From what you understand, and I know that you're very supportive of your son, but of course, like I said, you speak your mind. From what you understand, what was the point of Travis Scott in your opinion, and overall your take on how that transpired, and why didn't we see Rock again after that?
I guess I'm going to say it the way it is. Travis Scott had no business being near a wrestling ring.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that when he came out. And when he first made his appearance, it's like he slaps the belt, he's got the bottle, he gets in the ring. Just look, and I'm not saying celebrities don't belong there. Take a look at what Jelly Roll did. Take a look at some of the other celebrities.
Logan Paul.
Yeah, Logan Paul. I'm going to tell you something. That young man can be the next future of the WWE. That kid has got a lot going for him. Mm-hmm. But back to our conversation, I don't think Travis Scott really should have had a spot there to start with, period. Especially when you have a superstar down and you're asked or told by whomever it might have been, and if you saw the Unreal series, it was The Rock that said to Scott, lay it in. Well, unfortunately, in the business, you can do that. You can make it look harmful and make it look real, and the wrestler will sell it. He laid into him, and I looked at some of the folks I was sitting with, and I say, look, I've been doing this for a while. I don't know about Cody if he's going to say anything, but that kid just got hurt.
Yeah,
he just got hurt. And then with The Rock, I have no idea what that whole thing was about, because the whole storyline, and again, the whole storyline was, I want your soul. That means not I'm God. I want to be the devil. It means I want your everything. And if you give me your everything, I will make you champion. Okay, now we have a storyline. The Rock comes out. He does his thing. He does this. Cody tells him what to do and where to go. And that's the last we see of it.
Yeah.
That was, in my opinion, that was poor. Very poor, because now it becomes a one-man show.
Mm-hmm.
A one-man show. And it's not fair to the individual, and it's not fair to the fans of the WWE. Because look, that story's not finished. The story of Cody Rhodes and The Rock isn't finished.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Because I've got to go make a movie. And I'm not being wiser with The Rock. I have nothing but respect. Mm-hmm. But let's take it and call it as we see it. Mm-hmm. Why not finish what we started? Or if we couldn't finish what we started, don't start it at all.
Yeah. 100% agree with that. I think to me, it would have made more sense if the payoff to this would have been a face turn from John Cena based on Cody Rhodes being the one who's the mastermind behind this whole thing. And The Rock is aligning with Cody, and Cody makes a heel turn, and then John turns babyface. And now we have the roles reversed from WrestleMania. And so to me, that would have been just a really, really good payoff on all this, of Cody being the one that is aligning himself with John Cena, because he was reluctant. He was reluctant because he was the one that said no, right? That was the whole point of the Cena heel turn, because Cody said no. And then, he does the slit, he does the gimmick, and then of course we get the John Cena heel turn. But wonder if it was all a ruse in the first place, and John Cena was the one who was duped to think that he was aligning with The Rock to win the championship, which he did. But the grander scheme of things was, we want to get John Cena out of professional wrestling. So therefore, we're going to align with each other to do that. And what a way that would have been to send off John Cena, and what a way that would have been of making Cody Rhodes just the most dastardly heel that we've seen in a long time. I think they missed out on that, John.
I think they had to hire you to write, because you think like I thought. I said the same thing. I said, how about if the real victim here is John Cena.
Exactly.
And the real perpetrator is Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
What a swerve that would be. It would have been awesome. And, to me, I like what you say. And the other thing I said to somebody, if The Rock wasn't going to be there, and if Travis Scott was going to pull his shenanigans and now he's gone, I think what should have happened after Cody told The Rock to F you, when Cena comes over and hugs Cody, Cody's the one that should have squeezed Cena. John turns to the crowd. Back, it's Rhodes that nails him with the belt. And now we see the real alignment, and it's The Rock, as you say, that comes over and said, you did it. You did it. And I'm with you 100%. That would have been a storyline that could have gone on forever, ever.
Absolutely.
And that championship win at WrestleMania, I believe that's where it was. It was just not good.
Yeah. That finish was really off. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said this to a friend the other day. We were talking about this, and I said, you know what? Cena could have pulled the heel turn off of nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's an unfinished story.
Yeah, especially since the payoff of this whole thing was simply Travis Scott coming to WrestleMania. There was no Rock. It was just Travis Scott that came out.
Yep.
It was so much missing in that spot, in that moment, that people were just waiting for more. And Travis Scott was the one who came out. He was the big reveal, after the whole thing. I think there was a lot of loose ends that never were tightened up from that. And so it's unfortunate, man. There's certain things in pro wrestling that, it's left, unsettled and what could have been. And I definitely think that that's one of them. Let me ask you before we get to the super chat and head out, the obliteration from Brock Lesnar to John Cena. Now, how do you feel about that? Okay, it doesn't make sense to me. But how do you feel about that as far as just the way the match happened, and you think there'd be a payoff, that you think there'd be a rematch? From what I've heard in the office, there wasn't any before. I heard this before WrestlePalooza. There wasn't any type of definitive story heading between Brock and John Cena following WrestlePalooza. We definitely see that now, because he goes from getting obliterated by Brock Lesnar to tweeting with him and AJ to have a match at Crown Jewel. Just storyline, Men in Black effect. Let's just push the wand and just pretend it never happened.
Fast forward.
Help me understand that. help me understand that.
I don't know if I can help you understand it, because I don't understand it. Yeah. I was, not because he's my son, but I came up with a couple of scenarios. So obviously, I think the intent of that match, and that was a squash match. Yeah. I mean, when Heyman came out and said, the last real ass kicker, I mean, that was, you knew right there. I said, Cena's done. It's over. It's over. And it's going to be the same type of thing when he gave him the 15 F5s. It's going to be the same type of squash. Yeah. And I kind of sat back and I said, it shouldn't go down that way. Brock doesn't need the rub.
Yes.
Cena's on his way out. So a smart thing would have been, at some point, maybe we had an outside interference. Maybe we had I don't like countouts, but the outside interference, setting up the next match with Cena, whomever that might have been, would have been a better way to take it out than the way I saw it go down. Look, in this business, you want to leave them happy sometimes. When I saw those kids crying, that is not the way you want to have business go. And it's my son. And when I ever saw those F5s, I'm going, man, oh man, I hope he's all right. Brock is a wonderful human being and took good care of John, as he does to most of his opponents. Yeah. But there again, why would you take the man on a tour who's leaving? It just makes no sense to me at all. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And I don't know if you can call that a match. That was just a squash.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah. And to your point, I mean, Brock is, I say this so many times, man, Brock is one of the most underrated sellers in the history of pro wrestling. He doesn't get enough credit for how he performs in a match with people who he want to perform against. And if he wants to give you a rub, he will sell the heck. He's such a precise and pristine and really psychologically smart seller. He does a really good job at that. But he did that, in the match. But when you don't have opportunities to really sell as much as you should to make somebody look good, where does that leave the other person? And the other person is one of the greatest of all time, John Cena. You know what I mean? And so that's just awkward how that goes and how that
8 minutes. 8 minutes. 8 minutes for a match. I mean, that could have been so much better, so much thrill and spill. And like I say, even if Heyman wanted to get back at Lesnar, and turns around and screws Lesnar, cost him the match. What's your next match if people want to see it? Cena and Lesnar tag against whoever Heyman's representing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that would have been really interesting if he would have aligned with Lesnar seemingly, and then he's the manager of the Vision now, which is Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and that would have been really cool if he would have seemed like he's aligning with Brock, give him the announcement. Cena and Brock go back and forth. All of a sudden, Braun and Bronson comes and squash out, Brock Lesnar and John Cena. That leads to a tag match, at Crown Jewel between Bronson and Braun against John Cena and Brock Lesnar. That would have been a very star-studded match, man. So,
the only thing I can think of, Chris, is apparently whoever wrote it, I don't know who's responsible for that match, but I think the intent is that Brock is the Beast. And so the Beast has decimated the GOAT. And now let's see who the Beast's next victim will be. I think maybe that was the intent. I think it was a poor way to put it over.
Agreed. Let's do this super chat before we head out. We got Rollin, $10. You are the father of Thugonomics since you gave life to the doctor of Thugonomics. I think that John Cena has a top 5, top 10 theme song ever. What are your top 5 greatest pro wrestling theme songs?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, obviously the first one, we know what that one is, right?
John
My time is now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I absolutely always get on my feet for Hulk Hogan. I'm a real American. That just got you up on your feet and made you move. I kind of look for the stuff that was jazzy and nice, and there's so many out there. How do I pick the top 5? It's like
there's just 3 more that you can just think of on the top of your head.
I'm just kind of sit back and say Shawn Michaels. That was another good one.
Boy, yeah.
The Road Warriors. I guess we can.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting back looking at that stuff. I mean, I'm going way back now, so
Road Warriors is my all-time favorite tag team, so it's not way back for me. I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I got one more. Did I give you 5 yet?
You gave me 4.
I'll give you 4. Now I got to give you 5. So let me see who else I can think of that I would really say that I want. Oh, I have to say it. Mark Calloway.
Oh, Undertaker.
Music, Undertaker. Let me tell you. And Bray Wyatt, I got to give you 2 there. When you heard those 2 themes with the Undertaker, all you heard was the gong, and that was it. With Bray Wyatt, you heard that music, and all the lights went on. And that, I got to give you. I got to do that. Yep.
Very nice. You got anything coming up, John? It's always a pleasure, man, chatting with you, man. It just whisked by just like that, man. So
it's always an honor, and I mean it's an honor, and I mean that. I do. I have a show November 30th. I'll be at the Vault in New Bedford. That's a Christmas toy drive. I have October 25th. I'll be in South Portland, Maine with Cousin Larry. Show up there. That's a fundraiser. Nice. And then October 26th, I'll be back in New Bedford for a fundraiser for a trade high school with Teddy Goods, live pro wrestling. And then I've got 3 weddings coming up that I've got to perform. So, and then I start doing Santa Claus.
Nice. Wonderful. All right. We got one more that popped up before we go. Angel, $5. 2 cons on this run. I feel like I feel John last opponent should have been Randy. It would have been massive. Also, no Edge match. Well, he had Randy at Backlash earlier this year, and of course, Edge is with AEW, so contractually he can't do anything there. Edge did give your son an homage during his match at All In. Yeah, he did the whole thing and the five knuckle shuffle. So that was his homage to one of his greatest rivals, John Cena. What's your thoughts on that?
I thought that was tremendous, and if you notice, John paid tribute to Edge in his match with the homage he did to the wrestlers that he wasn't able to face. And as far as Randy being his last opponent, you know what? I can think, yeah, that might be true. That might be good. But I can think of a few others that maybe might be in line for that. We'll see what happens. And again, for the last match, I'm not an advocate of the last match, the person that's retiring goes out on their back. I never saw that written anywhere. If it were me, I'd find a way to have Brock Lesnar get the title, have Cena fight Lesnar for the title, win, become 18-time heavyweight champion. My son's going to kill me. He's going to kill me. And then he leaves with the belt, and the WWE finally does what they need to do, brand new belt and a tournament to determine who the next champion will be. But that's wrong. I should have said
that. I mean, it's clear that both of us need to be in the writing room and take over, because we just had a bunch of ideas on this show as far as creative is concerned.
It doesn't pay enough, Chris. It doesn't pay enough.
I agree. I think my job as a doctor pays much more than that, and it's less stressful, and I deal with a lot of stress as a therapist. So with that being said, this guy is John Cena Sr. I am Dr. Chris, and this is Unscripted. Have a good night, everybody. So long.
Love, brother.